My name is Jack, you're watching JBTCG, and to put it bluntly, the easy money has already been made. A lot of new people are getting into the Pokemon hobby to collect, flip, invest, whatever, and think that the gains from the past 6 months will continue on and on. And to be honest, I understand. Right now, it seems like Pokemon is the route to get riches. There have been huge gains across the board, pretty much across all the Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield products. But the simple answer is that the gains that we saw in the past couple months are not sustainable, and we won't see them continue on and on. And if you're thinking of taking all your savings and putting them into sealed Pokemon and cards in order to triple your investment in the span of the year, you most likely will not. But this doesn't mean that there aren't good opportunities to make great investments and great long-term profits on these investments. We simply just have to temper our expectations. The bull market that we've seen in the past 4 to 5 months was something we've pretty much never seen before. And the first reason is that sets from the Scarlet and Violet era that have been pumped, and they went from about $100 a box to $200 a box, like Obsidian Flames, Stellar Crown, Temporal Forces. They can't double again. These aren't going to go from $200 to $400 a box in the next year. And the reason for that is that they're still in rotation and the Pokemon Company is still printing their cards. So they will still be stocked at MSRP repeatedly over and over again. The Pokemon Company is also upping their print runs for a lot of these sets. We've seen a steady increase in the number of Pokemon Center ETBs printed per set in the Scarlet and Violet era. At the beginning, it was very low. I think some of the sets were under 100,000, and with Destined Rivals, we see that they're at 750,000 Pokemon Center ETBs. Now, that's the amount of orders they took in. Whether they actually fulfill all of these and actually print all of these is a different story, but you get my point. Print runs are increasing. Now, all the stuff I just said may seem like bad news if you're a Pokemon investor, but what it really means is that we need to have more patience with our Pokemon investments going forward, and we actually have to think about the products that we're investing in and not just buy everything that's on the shelves. So although the title of this video is negative, I do want to highlight 2 products that I think have massive potential to maybe double in price in the next year to 2 years. And then I'll also show you something that I think will either crash and burn or have 0 gains in the next year. The first product that we're going to look at that I think has a lot of opportunity to grow in value is the Journey Together Pokemon Center ETB. I made a video about this not too long ago, but I wanted to give an update and why I still think this is a great buy. You can see on the front you have Zoroark in N. It is a beautiful, beautiful looking ETB. It has such a nice gradient on it. And the reason I think this has so much opportunity is because a significant amount of the people who purchase it are new or newer to Pokemon. You can say these people are flippers, scalpers, whatever, I don't really care. But a lot of people got this product and wanted to immediately flip it for $200 because that's what the pre-order price was. With all these people trying to do this, and a lot of them being noobs for lack of a better term, they're undercutting each other trying to get any bit of profit they can. These people aren't comfortable with holding an asset like a Pokemon box and want to turn it into cash as quick as they possibly can. And the reason I know a lot of these people are new is because I check their eBay profiles. Most of them have like 2 sales, 10 sales. These aren't people that have sold Pokemon for years. These are people that are just now getting into it. Right now, these ETBs are $120, which is an incredibly cheap price for a modern Pokemon Center ETB, especially with a stamp promo that takes up pretty much half of its value. And frankly, it's a great stamp promo, which I also think would be a decent investment long-term. Not as good as a sealed box, but still a good investment. And out of all the products I've looked at, this one I think has the biggest potential to double in price in the next 1 to 2 years. We've seen lots of Pokemon Center ETBs with great promos from the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, catch prices upwards of $200 to $300, and even the 151 Pokemon Center ETB at $400. I don't think it's unrealistic to think that this ETB could hit $250 in 2 years' time. Now let's flip to something that is at a bargain price, but I think it is a terrible investment or a terrible play to make. This is the Pikachu EX from Surging Sparks. This has dropped 30% in value over the past couple of months. And usually when something drops in value, I see opportunity. I think it's a discount, essentially. It's a great time to buy. So why don't I see it here? Well, in my opinion, this card was overvalued from the jump. Hype and new collectors artificially inflated the price of this card, and the artwork here is nothing special. Also, as an aside, like a third of the card is just white space. This is by no means an artistic masterpiece. This isn't the Giratina V from Lost Origin. This isn't the Umbreon VMAX. This is a rainbow Pikachu with its butt sticking out. Even though it's at $340 right now, I still think this is overvalued. Now, do I think this is going to drop and tank in price? Maybe, maybe not. Pikachu fanboys exist. That's what's holding up this card. It's not its artwork. And there's always demand for Pikachu cards, so I think it'll still hold demand. It will hold a huge premium, but I don't think this is going to be a card that we see being $500, $600, $1,000. This is not a grail card. Now, what's the reason I'm bringing up this card specifically? Well, it's because I think it's a good example of the market overall. This card came in with the hype. It kind of helped push the hype into the Pokemon hobby. So from the jump, it was artificially hyped up from the community, hyped up from YouTubers, hyped up from everyone. But this hype train and the overall emotions of collectors have kind of cooled down in the past month. Now, there's still a lot of animosity and anger in the community about scalpers, but it's not as bad as it was 4 months ago. So with everything cooling off, we're seeing a settling, we're seeing a repricing of Pokemon cards and sealed products. Something to look out for as a strong sealed product or a strong single card is one that is resistant to this change. It isn't dropping in price, and maybe it's even still increasing gradually in price at this point. But my point with all this is that in the same way that this Pikachu card should never have been $500, the booster boxes from the early Scarlet and Violet era, like Scarlet and Violet Base, Temporal Forces, Paradox Rift, they should never have been $95 per booster box. The market has been swinging back and forth in the past 3 months, and it's finding its equilibrium finally. And this isn't saying that the bull market has stopped, but I think we'll see steadier growth in products like Sword and Shield era booster boxes over the coming months to couple years compared to what we saw in the past year. And frankly, that's a good thing. Although our investments aren't doubling and tripling in price over the next year or two, it's a sign that the market is healthy and it's able to find an equilibrium and an indication that we might find some semblance of normalcy. Now, I mentioned Sword and Shield era products. Another product that I think has lots of potential to be incredibly expensive in the future is Crown Zenith ETBs. Crown Zenith sealed products as a whole have been resistant to this cooling of the market. Where we've seen lots of things kind of stagnate over the past 3 months, Crown Zenith has remained surging. Now, the singles from this set have kind of dropped off in price over the past month, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I do think there are some investing opportunities in there, but what I'm focusing on here is the sealed products like the ETB. Crown Zenith is one of the most enjoyable sets to open that the Pokemon Company has ever released. Hit rates of basically 1 in every other pack, great Galarian Gallery or Alt Art cards if you want to call them that, and huge unique chase cards in the gold Sinnoh legendaries. This is a set with staying power, and it has the allure to keep opening it even though it's expensive, just because the hit rates are so good. So if you can only afford 3 or 4 packs of an expensive Sword and Shield set, you might as well go with Crown Zenith because your odds of getting something good are pretty high. And because a lot of people share this mentality, lots of Crown Zenith gets opened. And this scarcity of sealed packs and sealed products will drive up the value of this box. I've been a fan of Crown Zenith since the get-go, and I think it's still a good investment. So although I don't think everything across the board is going to launch to the moon in the next couple months, I think there are still a lot of opportunities. You just have to think a little harder and look a little bit closer to find them. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I'd love to have a conversation. And if you like content on the Pokemon market and Pokemon investing, consider dropping a follow. But that's all I got for today. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching and stay safe out there.